Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Paul Hitchcock with the asset protection and estate planning firm Barth Calderon. And really kind of pressing issue today. I'm here with my colleague, Paul Rafelson. Paul, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Great. How you doing?
Good, yeah. So what we're talking about today, Paul is on the front line of dealing with online sellers, Amazon sellers, in the whole sales tax issue. And if you're reading the news today, there's kind of some important news from the Supreme Court and Wayfair. So, Paul, let's jump right in. What's the latest and what's going on?
Yeah, so the Supreme Court today came down in this very important and highly anticipated sales tax case called Wayfair, well, South Dakota v. Wayfair, where basically South Dakota was challenging a 50-year-old rule uh, from a court case called Bellis Hess and subsequent court case called Quill in 1992, which basically said in order to require a company to collect sales tax or pay income tax or do anything tax, they had to have a physical presence in the state, so some sort of physical connection to the state. And that's become a real problem for states over the last 20 odd years because that decision was most recently affirmed in 1992. Well, a lot's happened since 1992 with the internet. And so now, you know, states are screaming bloody murder because they can't collect the taxes that they need so desperately because of this physical presence barrier that a lot of companies have been, hiding behind because, it gives them a great competitive advantage. They can sell stuff cheaper. Well, today that rule has been lifted. The court basically ruled, hey, no longer need a physical presence rule. No longer physical presence will be required to collect sales tax. So states, you're basically free to collect sales tax on companies that don't have a physical presence. The rule is much more, what the court said is a little bit more intricate than that. I think as it applies to huge corporations like Wayfair and Overstock, pretty much, the court says, that's the end of your tax advantage days. But our focus always is on the small Amazon merchants and eBay merchants and whoever else is making a living selling online. What does this mean? For Amazon merchants who are using the Fulfillment by Amazon program, FBA, where Amazon puts your stuff in warehouses, technically this isn't much of a change in the sense that you already had a physical presence in the state's eyes anyway. But what this will do is it will give the states sort of a higher sense of empowerment to be even more aggressive. So those of you who have been contacted by California, expect them to turn up the heat. Those of you who've been contacted by Washington, turn up the heat. Those of you who have not been contacted by other states, expect them to contact you. It's just, the states are going to feel empowered. Now, does that mean that they're right at the end of the day? I absolutely don't think so. And I still think that many of the challenges, the sort of problems with their arguments in terms of, can they place this massive 50 state tax collection and income tax compliance burden on a small business? They call it kitchen table enterprise in many instances. Can they do that? That still remains to be a question, and that's something the court said. That's still a question. It's just not one that they're going to address in this instance. But
so I was going to interject here. Obviously, you and I have been talking a lot over the months about this issue, and for those who are listening for the first time, so Paul, you're helping as an attorney a lot of these Amazon sellers with the tax issue. We're integrated with you on the asset protection side. You and I were talking offline about, we've been helping a lot of Amazon sellers kind of get pulled together with their, entity structure and their asset protection, covering both personal and business stuff. So offline, I posed the question to you: is this sort of a motivational issue to get, compel people to get their planning pulled together? Are you seeing that?
I mean, I see it coming from all sides, Paul. It's not even just tax, but certainly, yes, this issue, I still remain, optimistic that there will be a remedy, that we are right at the end of the day, but that doesn't change the fact that you're still at risk. And, why be at risk? Why not take these steps to protect yourself now? Because, you never know. Nothing's ever known in law, right? I mean, there's no guarantees, right? You never know how things are going to turn out. So, better protect yourself, and as well, not just, in terms of, will you win or will you lose? But I mean, protect yourself from the cost of litigation. I mean, do you really want to be in a situation where all of a sudden you're being forced to defend yourself against another state for 10 years of back taxes? Is that the right approach for you?
Right.
Better ways to do it to be better protected and insulated, so that you don't have to go and spend a fortune defending yourself against something. Even if you're right, it's still going to cost an arm and a leg. And I think the environment as a whole, Paul, I mean, it's just, it's every day something I read about on Amazon just puts people more at risk. Even outside of tax, there was this article that, not to digress from this case, but there's an article very recently I read about somebody who bought a hoverboard online, and the house burned down. The customer's house burned down because of the hoverboard. And guess what the court ruled? Amazon wasn't responsible for that. So guess who was? The seller. Well, in that case, the seller was in China. They were never going to find him. But what that tells me is, and what I hear from my litigation attorney friends all day long, is that it's impossible to sue Amazon. Between their arbitration, it's an impossible company to sue, whether you're in contract with them, whether or not. They've done a pretty good job of building a fortress. So think about this: when something goes wrong, if you sell a product that a consumer uses and somebody gets hurt, their lawyers for that person who got hurt, their plaintiff lawyer, they're not going to go after Amazon. They're really going to go after you, because they're going to see you as the fastest path to recovery. And so you might have business insurance, but they'll go over that. You might have that LLC that you started. I see this all the time. People still, feel that they're protected under this LLC that they started when they were 19 years old and they first got into the Amazon business. Now they got a family, they got a house, they got all this stuff. There's just, that LLC isn't going to be adequate anymore. You need to be more protected. And so this case should be a wake-up call. Everything that's going on right now, IP infringement claims, I mean, it should be a wake-up call that, Amazon sellers need to be protected. And that's how I got to you guys, because on this tax issue, how many times I would get on the phone with a seller or merchant and they would say, Paul, am I going to lose my house? And, optimistically, I would say, I think we're right. But, it's a very heartbreaking thing to have to hear that somebody's thinking in that way. And that's kind of what led me to sort of finding you guys, which I was introduced to through sellers. And it was just, really great to have that opportunity to be able to say, well, listen, just to make sure you're protected, because even if it's not taxed, there's something out there that might get you. You need to talk to these people. You need to talk to Paul and understand, what's at stake, what's at risk, and how you can protect yourself.
Yeah, no, appreciate you bringing that up. And so, as you know, what we're doing for, sellers, Amazon sellers, is doing really an assessment, a complimentary assessment of what they have going on. Whether there's potential danger or not, it's just a smart business decision to assess how you're running your business. Are you protected? How's your personal side of the equation protected? So these assessments in conjunction with you, Paul, are great. We're getting a lot of positive feedback. So this is all great information. We just wanted to get this out as sort of a news flash. This story is brand new. So Paul, thanks. I know we're going to continue to talk and integrate on things, but thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
So yeah.